Okay, am I actually alive? Alright, we seem to be good. Oops. I seem to always have this little bit of dead time before we get started. Oh yeah, Jack's here. Welcome to the stream. Just making sure that my overlays are running. Yep, overlays are all running. There was a stream chat. And yes, you are the first. You found it inside the first minute, actually. So yeah, welcome. And I think I'm looping things. Okay. Mute that. Okay. We'll be getting on in just a moment. I'm just going to put notices up on Discord. So, yes. And for the video later, of course, welcome one and all. I am AM3 and I am playing From the Depths as we sit here looking at my holder post and doing not a lot. Yes. Working on the Rexarius, and then put a link to the actual thingamajigger itself. Okay. And I'm just going to post that into Damadocs, and we're good to go. And we're good to go once I get this posted in the right places. And here, I'll move the out here from this one. There we go. Okay, now I am paying attention to the stream again. Aha. Hi, Damadoc. You would have been first, but yep, they were otherwise busy. Yes. Welcome to the stream, though. And hello to you as well, Raz. Time to sink a ship or 5? Well, quite likely, and even more likely, that's going to be the ship I'm working that's going to get sunk, despite it being docked. Because, let's be honest, that's what happens to my ships all the time, isn't it? I mean, no, everything's fine. I didn't accidentally blow up my ship several times during the last stream. Also, how's Streamlabs treating me? Not too bad, honestly. I've still not found the plugin to get an overlay for me, at the very least. So I'm still relying on my laptop to actually show me when you guys are chatting. Other than that, we seem to be pretty good. I'm just watching to see if I'm getting any latency going on, but I don't think I am, so we're good to start. We've of course got our benchmark, the Corollas Rex, sitting behind us, and we've got the Rexarius in front. However, I have not spawned in the weapon platform that we put together for the Rexarius, because frankly we don't need it anymore. So hey, less stuff spawned in means my computer cries slightly less, and I'll take that as a win. But we'll start off as Damadoc suggested though, and I'll run you through some stuff I've done off camera, since I've not streamed a little bit, but I have been poking at this craft, so as you can see there's some very small additions at the back here. Yes. We've got the primary Hesh cannon still here, but at the back we've got some mock-ups of secondary cannons now. And to start out this particular stream, what my plan is I want to finish working on the shield breaker cannons. Maybe do a smoke shell cannon as well, because I don't actually have that currently planned, but I can put something together that'll be of use, I think. I'm not exactly a smoke expert though, but hey, I'm willing to throw it in here. and then we'll actually start working on the hull. Long time coming, but it can only get better from here, I think. Let's see. Hello, Lauren. Welcome to the stream. And Raz, I'm glad to hear you've been doing fine. Reading and prepping for a large-scale D&D campaign. Ah, yes. How are the armies gathering for that? You probably realise, but I don't think I'll be up to attending that one, unfortunately. Though I do hope you guys have fun invading the realms of. Who is it you're invading again? I've never been completely sure on that one. Oh. It's going to be interesting for you guys. I'm quite sure of that, though. Yeah. Anyway, I should probably mention what I've got here, since these guys are actually done. Then we'll be working on these guys. So what we've got here is 2 Sabo turrets, which are for pure kinetic damage kind of thing. We've got the 500mm version, and we've got the a smaller, lighter version as well here, which is a double-barreled 250. Just because it's like a smaller shell, but it can still give good performance in that size. So that's something I've decided to do since last stream. Which is, I'm introducing some smaller caliber shells as well for some more varied firepower. But, yeah. Down here, if we check that shell really quick, it is this one. So those 2 cannons are just using this one here, the Sabo Solid Bleed Base. Just for cheap, expendable, metal-breaking power, kind of. How good they're going to be is dubious, but if the shields are down, then they are going to be somewhat dangerous. And they're cheap as well, so that's why they can fit into a turret, which is, frankly, a little bit smaller than these big Hesh cannons, which we've got at the front. Wrapping up Ashes of the Empire. Just got the... Yeah, sorry I missed your last stream, actually, Damodoc. But yeah, you're getting close to finishing that now, aren't you? Your Ashes of the Empire stream set. I'm wondering how it's all going to turn out, but I suspect you're going to win. So, you know. Okay, right. The other thing I've got here is this quad barrel beastie, which Dama said looked quite interesting, because I gave Dama like a screenshot when I started mentioning, started working on extra turrets and things. And this is actually the flak round. This one over here, which is flak, timed fuse, bleed base, and gunpowder charge. So it's a bit of an odd one. But I decided to take that shell, work it smaller, so it's actually only a 348mm. And because I've dropped it to 348, it actually fits if I get onto the turret here. And ignore the fact I'm holding a Fortress controller. That may have been something to do with setup. And if I show you behind the armor plating, was that enough? One more? There we go. Yeah, by dropping that shell to 348, it became belt feed compatible. So this quad turret, the internal mechanism, it's each one's got a single belt feed, so it's got a fair stock of ammunition and it's fairly fast firing. But once it expends itself, it takes a little while to reload. But it's not too bad overall, and definitely not too bad for such a compact weapon system either. Though the odd thing is, it's a side-by-side and over-under design. So, you know, a bit weird in that respect. But definitely striking in appearance, though. Just one of those odd little things. Actually, let's hop over there. Because there's no point in just taking a quick look at them. Might as well fire a few test shots as well, so you can see what kind of firing rate they've got, that kind of thing. So first up is the 500mm Sabre. This is a black powder shell. It has no railgun component. There's a little opening in the top of the turret here just for a few finishing details like maybe a small shield, maybe some detection gear, you know, that kind of thing. So it's not quite ready for full installation, but that's going to be sorted out in this particular stream. But yeah, maybe a single barrel, but it actually fires at a decent clip. Definitely enough to be worrying if there's no shields to intercept the shots. And it's a small shot as well, so laser defenses have struggled to pick it up before it gets pretty close. But that thing is a refire rate of, if I check it, yeah, it fires every second with an accuracy rating of 0.26. So it's a bit on the dangerous side. Let's get something in here just to show that as well, because if we're gonna do weapon testing, we've got to go full bore, haven't we? I think it's here, isn't it? There it is, powder side. No, Kingstead. It was Kingstead, wasn't it? Where's the iron block I need to shoot stuff at? Come on. Yeah, that's the one. No. Oh dear. In my defense, there is no hull on this thing yet, just so you know. So that's why there was that. Well, Raz did come in and ask how many ships are going to get blown up today. There you go. My building platform's been blown up once already. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Dammer. If you're missing D&D, definitely talk with Raz about it, because Raz does that a fair bit. He hooked me up a while back and helped out. So yeah. Yes, talk to Raz. He can probably point you to a few games. Let's see. This is surprisingly little damage. Yeah, it's the thing is though, it only hit this ammo pile here, so it blew out part of the shells, blew out the boiler, and blew out this ammo rack. But I actually turned it off before it could fire again, so that wasn't too bad all considered. Still, the reason it's here is for this, which is going to be like, we're going to see what this 500 does to it. Oh, it blew straight through, hang on. Oh, and that second shot just over-penetrated. Oh. Yeah, as you can see, it's like, this thing is very hollow, admittedly, so the armor isn't that good, but it is punching straight through it without any issue. Oh. And the first shell went straight through all of that. So that's the 500mm version. Though that shot didn't actually hit any of the explosives inside the turrets though, so there is that. Oh. And yeah, oh, there we go, it hit something explosive. But it was just punching straight through those. Okay, next up, we've got this one here, which is exact same shell, but it's reduced to a 250 caliber, and it's a double barrel turret as well, just for a better rate of fire on it. So if I turn this one into play, I actually worked it out, and Dan was surprised by this, but it's the shell is like I think it's like 1/4 the cost, but 1/5 the effect, or something like that. So they are a lot stealthier, but for efficiency for the size, it is better for the big guns. But this one is also a volley fire, as you can see. It fires 2 shots really quickly, and then it takes a few moments to reload, and then it fires again. And you can see the damage counter is stacking up quickly. That rapidly did stack to like 40k, 50k. So this one is like very much sustained DPS, and it's more geared towards lighter targets. This big one is for like dealing with rival craft of similar scale. That's also why it's an AA mantle, so it can angle upwards. This one is in a 3 meter elevated mantle, so it can angle downwards for things that get close if it needs to. It's also in a very small ball style turret as well, so that's a really compact turret top there. But it's a relatively small turret as well, so you know, that's how it is. The last one is not going to do much to our little test target over there, admittedly, because it's an anti-aircraft turret, and it's the Quad 346. It's 348. And it's only a 348 simply because that would let me take one extra gauge increaser off it and put an extra cooling part into it instead. That's the only reason it's at 348. Gauge increasers and their odd random numbers kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure how much this is going to do to an armored target like this, but we'll see. Would help if I wasn't shooting my own turret, actually. Oh dear. I think I need to get a copy of this turret where it's not being blocked by everything. That would probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Though one thing I would note about these things is they have the same size on the internal mechanisms as well, so it's like, let's move that a little bit. So they all fit within in this heavy armor that I've put there, just so I know how big to make the turret wells and things. I love how one can build crams that basically can't be blown up. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with the turret Tetris, isn't there? So are you loaded? You should be loaded. Wait, no, you're the only turret I've built for this craft which is belt fed. You're so the only one that needs a pause to reload itself. Oh dear. Might as well continue, I suppose, with the tour. These guys, these guys are kind of geared for the shield breaking role, as mentioned. But I'm not going to be relying on the 500 mil. I'm not going to rely on the 500 mil disruptors as much as I thought I would be, because they may hit hard, but they are so easy to detect. So incredibly easy to detect. And they're sluggish as well. I mean, the 500 mil ones, sorry, the 500 mils I did, sure, they blow up a level 1 shield in a single hit. So a level 5 shield is 5 hits, yada yada. But, well, they get detected at like over a kilometre out. And that's several seconds where they can be intercepted. Not great. Let's just remove this. So, yeah, here's the one thing. I actually modified it slightly as well. I saw some chat that was going on, so I've actually taken out the inertial fuse. And I think it works better as an EMP shell, if I do that. So, because it seems to trigger EMP more often without the inertial fuse thing detonating it. So I'm leaving it like that. And because of that, we've got extra gunpowder casings in there, things like that. And I think I upped the voltage a little bit as well. Yeah, I seem to recall I upped the voltage on that test gun. Oh, you got to go, Damadok? Well, okay. I hope you have a good time at work then. So yeah, no worries about that. Let's check my prototype actually. What did I amp it up to? I know I increased it a little bit. Railgun is set to take 18,000, 15% energy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I increased the voltage by 50% over the initial test shell. So it's at 15,000 rather than 10,000 per shot for this guy. So yeah, here's the final stats for that 500 mil disruptor. Razul says, I personally really like adding a single smoke to anti-shield shells. Tends to allow them, if fired fast enough, to slowly creep closer to the craft, as they create a tunnel of smoke through the laser AMS. That would actually be a really good idea. I'm tempted to go with that, but my reasoning here is that, well, because the disruptors are slower, and I wanted higher velocity shells, I made the conscious decision, like, while I was tinkering with the new turrets between streams, to strip out anything extra, so the disruptors are like pure disruptor. The shells are as small as possible, so I could focus on getting them as fast as possible as well. So yeah, anyway, this one is like 588. I actually increased the EMP spike a little bit. So 588, 677 meters per second. It's got some decent accuracy and things like that. However, it gets picked up at just over a kilometer distance out. On the bright side, though, that's like about a second and a half-ish at most for it to be intercepted before impact. But I'm not going to be relying on those, as I mentioned, because I've added this shell just above it. This is the shell I've tuned for the other one, which is a 210 millimeter disruptor shell. Yeah, I know, another odd number there, 210. And I did that for a very specific reason too. So if I drop this down to 210. Right, I've geared it this way because it does just over 100 EMP in strength. So 5 of these will burn out a shield that the 500mm was done in one shot. So 5 of these, but these things fire a lot faster, they cost a lot less, and, well, the fire rate is higher. The shell velocity is also quite high as well, but that is actually, did I set that to 5k, I think? Let's check this. Yeah, it would help. If I'm going to talk about stuff, I should probably check my stats a little bit, shouldn't I? 10% buff, yeah. 5,000 energy railgun on that, so not that bad. Definitely sustainable. And I guess that feeling, I was like, wait, didn't I turn that down? Yes, I did. It's slightly faster, but it only gets picked up at 192 meters versus the 1 kilometer. Yeah, 686, meh. Still fast for a disruptor shell, though. Though, as I mentioned, it gets detected like just below 200 meters. So that means it gets a lot closer, and they have a lot less time to intercept it. And because it's cheaper and faster firing, there'll be a lot more of them to give the AMS a bit of a hard time. That belt fed's got to be loaded by now, hasn't it? So yeah, that's the idea behind this smaller caliber one, which is going to be the mainstay of it. Oh, that's why you said 20 meters too fast. Okay, yeah, I agree, Raz. 600 plus is fine, but just 20 meters too fast. 666. Yes, the shell of the devil. Definitely. Anyway, yeah, this turret, I wasn't happy with, and this is one that I'm going to delete, honestly. But 210s, we can have a treble barrel version, but I think it's just too complex to try and work it into like a multi-turret like this. Especially since multiplying the barrels means you have to multiply the rail system, or multiply the rail system's draw to keep up with it. And I didn't want to do that really, so this is a prototype gun that's not going to see actual use. Anyway, let's do the last bit of weapon testing for now, which is like the quad 348, before that things get too far. Yeah, I know. It's not doing anything really impressive for this because it's like, it's very low yield flak versus armor. So flak versus metal hull is not really going to do too much. But this is like, it's meant to like damage aircraft, exposed wings, exposed sensors and things, you know, that kind of stuff. That's what this thing's meant to do. And it's meant to force an airborne target to have to drop down and get into range of some of the other guns if it's got past that. So that's why this thing is like, it's very unimpressive in general, but it's AoE effect versus the more vulnerable targets. And that's really all it's meant to do. It's not even going to be used in ship-to-ship combat. Because it's just not strong enough, let's be honest. Still though, Salvo 4 on a time fuse, they're probably destroying a couple of shells with their detonations, but increase the chance of getting through there. And there we go, the belt feds have run out, so that was a full clip of it. Thank you, you have done your job. So we can get rid of you now. Additional hellish damage on impact. Yeah, especially since I noticed that disruptor shells, if they aren't being detonated by a fuse, they actually work a lot more reliably as an EMP shell when they hit hull. So they actually have some utility once they get past the shield. Oh, by the way, does the proxy fuse bug still exist? AKA proxy fuse shells with a flak, HE or EMP payload, which then gets teleported right into the shield generator? I didn't even know that was a thing. It sounds very, very dangerous. And if it is a thing, I'm not going to use it because that's definitely not as intended, I suspect. Let's strip that turret out because we don't need it anymore. It's shown us what it can do. You know, a couple of suicide surface skimmers that would disagree, certainly strong enough for them. It's probably not going to do too well against them, to be honest. Because I'm planning to mount these things on top of the Citadel, like 2 of them. And then that's going to be it. So there's not going to be many of these things either. And because they're not 3-meter verticals, they'll struggle to aim at surface targets for the most part, unless I set them low down. Which I don't want to do, because then they'll probably shoot the barrels of some of the other weaponry. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. Let's get this system finished off. It is it's built on the same scale as the Sabos. But it's a double turret. I'm going to strip it down to a single turret, though. I'm going to keep it as a treble barrel, but it's just a bit too much having, I think, it be a treble. Sorry, hextuple barrel system. Especially since I'm splitting it between 2 separate bits, so... Yeah. In fact, I think I'm going to have to tear the entire thing down. Since it's built from the ground up as a double turret. Yeah, I'm going to have to strip the entire thing down. Easy enough to do. Let's just delete the stuff that's around the base of it. There we go. Sorry, treble barrel, we hardly knew you. Citadel. Citadel, you mean the internal armoured box below the waterline that houses the vital systems? No, I meant the structure on top. Oops. I always thought the structure on top was the Citadel. Was I wrong in thinking that? In fact, honestly, I thought the Citadel meant the entire thing, like, in that area. You know? Like, the upper central body, which you're now calling the superstructure, which actually sounds a bit more like it's what I should be saying, honestly. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And then this is where the top of the plate is going to be, so there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that's the base of the turret, like that. So once again, built for a 4-meter deck plate. That's fine. Citadel is the armoured internal box inside the hull. Okay, yes, I had the name wrong. So yeah, my thought is to have those quad flaks on top of the superstructure. But there's certainly going to be... I think there's probably room to fit one in the nose or the stern of the ship or something like that. Should I build this as a 1 meter thick neck? We'll see how it turns out. That said though, I think I'm going to make this treble barrel one the elevated version. Or should I keep these guys? No, if something big gets flying too close, I need a disruptor cannon with elevation available for it. So I'm going to lift it by 1. I'm going to install fire mechanisms here. Since then I can do what you saw before, which is I can have the railgun piece below it, like that. Given the battery size, all it needs is that single piece to tap into the railgun, and that's it, really. Then we'll have the L mantle on the front. Why is that the wrong way around? That way, thank you. And it'll go from there. Let's see, treble barrel. It is not going to be able to spin it, and desired 210mm shells. And that'll fit perfectly into a 4 thing. So yes, there we go. Yes, Jason, welcome to the stream. Woo, more from the depths. Yeah, apologies for this stream taking a little while to come into being, by the by. That's just how things happen to work out, unfortunately. Though sadly, Jason, you've missed the demonstration of the sub-turrets that I put together between streams. Strongly recommend taking time to look at turret placement on a gun-heavy battleship or dreadnought from late World War II. I thought I'd turn them all sideways and just strap them to the hull and be done with it, quite honestly. That sounds nice, right? Totally be effective to have all the vulnerable gun parts on the side of a dreadnought, just like that. Probably not. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we'll continue down with the coolers. There we go. That is going to be fine there. Treble barrel, so we need to be aware of that in building the design. Excuse me. Let's build this thing. How am I going to make it? Ideally, I want it to be like 2, so that's the only problem with them. As I mentioned a few moments ago, multi-barrel railguns, you've got to be aware of how the railgun needs to be installed versus the shape of the thing, because multi-barrel means you can have a more compact system for the rest of the gun, since it spreads the cooling between barrels. But the trade-off is you still have to multiply the rail system by the barrel number. So a double barrel, the rail system for a given fire rate is going to be twice as high and stuff like that. So just stick those on the inside there. Actually, I know that those won't connect directly like that. Will a 6-way connector overcome this? Let's check it. Can that connect to the side of that thing? No, it cannot. Okay. That side edge on those things is a little bit irritating, I must admit. Okay. You sent me 3 pics on Discord. Okay, let's take a quick look at that. Battleship Iowa class. 3 guns, and then the rest of it's scattered around the superstructure. See, I can learn. Yeah, superstructure. But for the most part, its body and the weaponry is concentrated into, in general, 2 areas, it seems. Though sometimes it's scattered a little bit around the side as well. But yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you're on about there, Raz. Yeah, 5 pics. I spotted you sent me 5 pictures. Thanks for that. Okay, let's see. That's another reason the shell is 210mm, by the way. for the loader length and for the fact I wanted it to be like exactly. Let's turn it the other way around. Just so we could get specifically just over 100 EMP strength on it. I could have gone with the 4-meter loaders and put in like a 230 or 240 millimeter shell, I think it was. But I decided not to. Just because it'd be cheaper and still work with the effect I wanted from it. That's what I want there. Yep, okay. So I know 210 is a bit of an odd one from the depths, but I think it's going to work here. So I'm going to set these things to load the longest shell because that's the one for the 250s. And we'll see how this thing goes. Right, railgun configuration time. We've got a massive battery and we're drawing a minuscule amount of power for this, so we can drop the energy usage really low. Let's put it at 13.1%. We'll also give it like a 10% thing, so that's about 5,000 to get into the velocity of the shell, which is what I was tuning it for. Railgun takes 2.5 seconds to fully charge. That's fine. We need to fire the cannon to get the cooldown statistics on it though. And then we can continue to adjust it based on weapon performance. So, here we go. Yeah, railgun, limiting factor, definitely. Oh dear. 0.56 seconds on that. But to match the shells, the shell cooldown, based on the existing system, we have to increase the railgun charge rate quite drastically, honestly. So 0.56, let's say 0.6, that means we need the rails to recharge in about 0.2 seconds, slightly under, to match the cooldown on the barrels. So we need 0.2 seconds. This is going to beef up the railgun's bulk considerably. Also have fast mirroring. Let's do that. Let's increase the neck size as the neck will be a 3-meter neck. Do it like that. Let's install a little bit of armor on the front of the neck so we know where the neck actually is now. Just in case. You know, because I'm probably going to forget otherwise. We don't need to increase the cooling any further. So that's going to help with the charge rate a bit. You know what, in for penny, in for pound, just put some on the back there as well. Just because it'll help. So it's only got a solid armor plate on the front of it. You really like the Alaska cannon, the Alaska class's gun placement. 3 times treble 305mm mains. The Alaska? Wait, was that one you sent me? Alaska? Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, Alaska is one. That's the one where I mentioned. Like, it seemed to be like clustered. It's got its main guns forward and back, and then just behind the main guns towards the superstructure. Then it goes into clusters of all the other weapons based around the either end of the superstructure. And I'm reliably calling it a superstructure now, which is great. Okay, that's better. Not great, but better. Okay. What's the charge rate at now? Railgun is charging in 1.12. We need this railgun to be 6 times faster than that to match the speed. Oh dear. All the last 3 picks was the Alaska. I thought it was. Didn't want to assume though. We need 6 times the railgun system to deal with this thing. And then the ammo system won't be able to keep up. Honestly. Because this thing is... We're working within a limited area to build the turret. So... multi-barreled railguns are not actually that good an idea. They were just a pain to work on. More than anything else. 2, 3. 1, 2. One there as well. And we don't need the cooling. We need the charge. So let's just install. How much are those? These are cage cooling units, which we don't need, cost 20 material. A 6-way connector costs 10. So that's half the cost, but that's what we need right now. Simply because we can attach twice as many things to it without having to put more cooling into the weapon system, which we don't need at all. Look at that, that's a massive bulk of charging banks for it. Right, what are we at now? We are at railgun charges in 0.7. We need 3 times this number to deal with this barrel system. Yeah. Okay. What would happen if I sacrificed 6 loaders for extra charging? I think that honestly the best option is going to be if I take off some barrels, because we just don't need that much. If we bulk the railgun up far enough for it to actually work with all this, then we'd be taking out any kind of ammo capacity for the weapon system itself. So that's the balance I'm looking for at the moment. Like, how much can I pump into this without it starting to lose rate of fire? Yep, that's definitely faster. Then there's where it runs out of ammo. Yeah. On this size of turret, the treble is definitely overkill. So what happens if I turn it down to a double? Okay, 2 barrels. In which case we can test the rate of fire again once it refreshes its clips, which is actually pretty quick. Only 34.5 seconds to reload those, versus 111 for the 500s, which is another reason for the smaller ones, must admit. Yeah, sorry, this is the more boring part of weapon testing, isn't it? Since I'm testing how well they can sustain fire. And there's the dry spell again. If only I was working on a bigger turret, then I'd have the space to play around with a charging system for that, but as it is, yeah, that's too much. I'm going to do the sensible thing. I'm actually going to turn it down to a single barrel again. Though that means it's going to be pretty similar to this smaller version over here, just with extra ammo capacity and stuff like that. Because let's be honest, it doesn't need the rate of fire if the railgun system can't keep up with it. But hey, we tested it. We tried it. We went in there and had a look at it being like multi-barrel. So yeah. Shortest Viking, hello, welcome to the stream. Always had to pick between proper looking gun placement and keeping them from chain exploding. Yeah. Like this gun, I'm actually armouring the front of it with the shell clips, rather than using the railgun charge system. So, yeah. Overall, probably it would have been safer if I'd actually turned it the other way around. Yeah, it's not doing too badly. Definitely best sustained as well. Oh, there we go. It just ran out. Yeah, it's running dry with 2. Also a sudden lag spike. I don't know what that was. Ooh. Why am I suddenly getting a lag spike whenever I look at this? Why is there a block down there? Did I accidentally hit something? I don't know. Just use crams, no issues with chain explosions. And... well, is that true? I always thought that some of the components in crams were kind of volatile. Have they changed that since I last looked at them? But I agree with Viking, actually. The most recent time I used crams, though, was when they were pointing downwards, like cram bombs. Beautiful things, cram bombs. Very, very explosive. And don't worry, we'll be getting onto hull work pretty soon, I think, because now that I've decided to just make this one a bigger version of the single barrel, which means it's going to be faster firing, but that's the main thing it's going to have going for it. Let's see, if I drop it down to a single, I can check the turret next to it, just to see how many gauge increases I need to fit into it. 1, 2, 3. 3. That's all I need. 3. The rest of it can be cooling, which the gun doesn't need. Excellent. That's 3. The rest of it's cooling, so it's going to fire even faster now. There we go. Why is it choppy? I don't know why. Only HE pellets in crams are actually explosives, so as long as there are no more than 2 of those adjacent to one another in a single block, i.e. other pellets between that and the next set of HE, it won't blow up. Oh, really? I was not aware of that one. I'm also kind of wondering why my game seems to be lagging a little bit. And that is also why it's also exactly at the same time as the stream is getting a bit choppy, by the by. So it's something's happening. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, that is a much slower firing rate now. And I know for a fact it's tied to the railgun. Definitely tied to the railgun. I'm also hearing music coming from upstairs, I think. So it's like, let's swap out some of these guys for better charge rate again. We want the 6-way one. And then we'll start armoring this thing up and moving things around. There we go. Better charge rate. You now have a charge rate of 0.76. Cannon's cooldown is 0.44. FTD lags a little bit. Yeah, I think it might just be from the depths. There's nothing actually spawned out that way, which is what's concerning me a little bit. Okay, that seems to be fairly competent there. Definitely steady firing. And it's got some ammo reserve built in as well for maintaining fire on it. Are these going to be in a really tall ship, or will they be placed horizontal? Tall ship, actually. I mean, you can see how tall it's going to be roughly from these things. And it's actually, compared to the Corollas, it's not that much deeper, in all honesty. So it's not going to be that tall. Not super tall, at least. It's going to be fairly tall, I'm guessing, but I don't have a good frame of reference. Though honestly, I'd hate to see a spinal-mounted cannon on a vessel of this size. That would be something really nasty. Probably something that's ridiculous, like a Gatling artillery cannon. Or something like that. Looks like your Iron Maiden's main guns. Maybe. But yeah, those are the Hesh ones, so... I'm just going to do one more thing for the weapon testing, and then we'll start armouring and building hull. So... Since you guys have seen that new one that I just put together firing, I'm going to copy out the smaller version, which is that one there. It's firing the same shell, same 5,500 rail charge, but it's built into a smaller... It's a smaller turret than any of the other designs which are sitting here as secondaries ready for use. So I just want to see how it compares in terms of firing rate compared to what we've just been using. So, and that will tell us if this thing's worth it or not, honestly. Since its main thing is it can load ammo faster. And it charges faster as well. But the shot is exactly the same at the end of the day. Yeah, that's pretty steady. Now, what does the XL... sorry, not XL, the extra light version... Sorry, XL came from MechWarrior Online. What does the XL version do? Yeah. Is that all it's got, actually? I thought it was faster than that. Yeah, rail charge 3.68. Yeah, that is actually as fast as it goes. So yeah, the bigger version is definitely a marked improvement over the compact one. But the compact one fits into a smaller space. Now I'm wondering if the small version is really worth it. Oh well, it's much more easy. Well, it's much easier to fit into places, I suppose. So there is that. But yeah, feel free to suggest how much I want to focus on these little ones compared to the big ones. But jeez. Goodbye, little cannon. Splash. Okay. Hope you have plans for a serious laser on the ship too. You'll need it for LAMS and AA if it's for campaign. Well, a lot of the guns are actually fitted to be able to shoot upwards, so it can do a lot for AA with its main weaponry. Also, it's going to have missiles. But yeah, there's going to be space for some laser gearing and stuff as well. By the way, regarding the size of the superstructure, in real life, ships roughly have the central third of a ship taken by the superstructure, leaving the front and rear thirds for guns and missile batteries. Oh! Well, I knew that, but at the same time, it had never really been said to me that way, you know? So it's kind of weird, honestly. But yeah, it's never been said to me in that way, so I never connected the dots. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to reinstall that cannon I just deleted because I'm actually going to delete the one in the middle over here. Goodbye, cannon. So yeah, I never actually stopped to think about that one, honestly. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It makes me wonder if I should have a massive cannon just on the very prow of the ship now, just to be different or something. Look at me, I'm being so rebellious. I've got this massive weapon system just tacked onto the front of my ship. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. And then it immediately blows up for some unknown reason. Nah, I'm not going to do that. But I am tempted. I am quite badly tempted. Fill in the gaps. This is not normally my habit, by the by, but it's just something I've been doing for the Rex since I want its weapons to be hardened. Normally, I actually build my weapon systems without the extra internal armoring on them. Admittedly, it does make my ships more fragile, but that is how my ships tend to work out, being a bit more squishy than ships of the equivalent scale. But they make up for that by packing more weapons into them at the end of the day. That's been my thing, quote unquote. more weaponry. More Dakar. There's always room for more Dakar, right? Let's make that one that. Then we'll have a square. Just to fit into the shape of it. Yeah, there we go. And lastly, for decoration, we're going to have a metal plate stuck on top of it because reasons. Also, I guess on the sides as well, but that, if I put it on the sides though, that kind of gets away from the whole shape of it, doesn't it? How many ships have the largest AA near the front of the bow and near the stern? Often more AA towards the back of the ship for some reason. Probably because, well, actually, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. That's all. That's how that was going to be. Let's move on to the next turret system, which is this one, the 500mm version. Why would there be more AA on the back of the ship? Unless it's like for hovercraft, helicopters and thrustercraft and that kind of thing. That's the only reason I can think of. Since those guys would not be strafing it like a full-bore aircraft would be. Yeah, that's all I'm thinking of. Like, just that reason. Like, if thrustercraft are chasing behind a ship, the ship's moving forward, then that would mean that they'd wind up behind it. So you really want those guys dead. Otherwise, they're just floating there, laying firepower into you the whole way, and that's probably going to be detrimental to the ship's health. So that's why I would want more AA on the back of it, sometimes, just to deal with that kind of threat. Though, actual proper aircraft that fly around, like dive bombing, then fly away and come back again, for that you want AA all over the place more than anything else, I think. Though another reason could be if you want clear fields of fire for the weapons, and that's why I'm planning to have my 348 flak turrets on top of the superstructure, just so that there's no other guns and weapons to get in the way of the couple of turrets that are up there. So that way they've got free reign to shoot at any kind of flyer that might be heading my way. Though Raz made a very good point mentioning like suicide hovers, because they'd be perfect for that kind of thing as well. Though that's if none of the other weapon systems got to the hover first, which is a distinct possibility. Is that correct? That is correct. Okay, I was just double checking the shape of my turret armoring. There we go, onto the upper section, which is slightly heavier, but it's still the same basic ball turret as that small one, honestly. You need a fast ship to actually run away from a flyer. This is true. This is quite true, but I meant like, as the ship moves naturally, then any craft that's like just hovering around nearby is probably going to wind up spending more time behind it than anything else. So that's why I said extra firepower in the rear arc could be quite helpful sometimes. Usually not though, must admit. Usually not. They got another very small weapon system. This big ship, and then there's these really tiny ball turrets just tacked onto the side of it. It's going to look really weird. But hey, it looks distinctive. There we go. Viking, you also asked how I'm liking OBS as well. I'm actually liking it a lot. I think it's less of a drain on my system than XSplit was. Though the thing I'm still not liking is the fact that I don't have an in-game overlay for the chat. I've not been able to work out how to do that yet. So that's why of course, why I'm relying on the laptop for it. Let's see. Get those. So yeah, it's just the same deal with this one. Just getting the turret armoring into shape. maybe it's silly of me to be rounding things out like this, seeing as the solid blocks actually have more health. But for some reason I like to round out things to smooth out the appearance overall. So that's why I'm giving the actual turret armoring a more rounded appearance. And ooh, that is spot on for 3 4-lengths down the entire side. I don't know, it's one of the little idiosyncrasies of my build style, I suppose you could say. So I just mentioned that as I'm working on it, in case anyone was wondering, like, why am I not using the solid 4-meter blocks? Because I like the look of it. And honestly, sometimes it does help with deflection as well. It depends what's hitting the thing. But yeah. Let's see. You do all your AA in the midships, but in the front, if it's a flyer, yeah, it's all angle of attack, isn't it? Depends on where things are going to be. Actually, that's going to be like 2 meters out the side. This turret's got room for some onboard detection, actually. You don't know how to do overlays, or just know how to record in MKV and have it work. Yeah, it's working. Though honestly, for when I've been recording They Are Billions, it's like I've actually been trying to... Well, I've actually gone back to what I was doing before with XSplit, which is like, since I don't trust my own internal volume... I don't want this thing to be so diagonal. I don't think I can do much about it, honestly, unless I bulk it out a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's bulk it out. Let's bulk this bigger one out a little bit. Sure. There's always room for a little bit extra armor, isn't there? Turn that around, like that, like that. Then it's going to be there, and then I'll round out the side of it. Why not? Yes, that's going to be the... It's slightly bulkier than most of my other turrets, but hey. It's a big, beefy turret designed for delivering pretty fast-firing shells. Pretty fast-firing disruptor shells towards the target, so it's okay for it to be a bit boxier, I think. Or at least that's what I'm thinking, anyway. So maybe it looks silly compared to the rest of them, but, you know, I've got enough slender turrets as it is. I might as well bulk one out a bit. Give some variety. Shows pretty well that it's a heavier turret as well, honestly. Okay, let's actually start working some stuff into these then. Right, if I take those out there, we've got a couple of side bits. I can use that to install some detection equipment. Just use multiple audio channels and boost your voice in post. The problem is, it's actually that I don't output consistently, since I'm not under the strain of like having people listening to me as I go. So sometimes I'm actually really quiet depending on what the game is doing or what I'm playing, or it's like I'm really chilled out, I'm naturally going to be a bit quieter. And as a result, my volume is, it fluctuates. So I like to have it like separate, and then I composite it later as I prepare the video. Why am I looking for things in missiles when I want it is down here? I got distracted. Ugh. Okay. How am I going to do this? We have a little bit of space at the bottom, actually, which I can use to get some stuff. If I connect that around there. There we go, pretty solid. Yeah, this turret's actually going to have some serious detection. Though at the cost of armor, must admit. At the cost of armor. So, detection. Let's give it some basic stuff. I'm going to give it a simple no, not 360 stuff. Silly ion. No, 90-degree stuff. Gonna put one there. Then I think, oh, either I'm gonna go with an IR camera for extra detection type, or a laser rangefinder built into it. Not sure which. Let's use IR just to help it pick things out a little bit better. Because that'll do. And then for decorations, I'm going to use some portholes, I think, in front of it, since that shouldn't stop it, should it? I just need to find them. Oh, there they are. Right. Metal portholes. So there you go. That's a little thing in front. I don't know if normalized volume would fix that, but yeah, you can just target low volume parts to take time. Yeah, that's why I have it all separate. So I should actually try OBS with separate tracks, just to try it and figure things out a little bit further, and then maybe I can ditch Audacity entirely. But the thing is, I'm still going to have to go into Vegas and edit the thing anyway, just separate out separate parts, because the reason there wasn't a They Are Billions yesterday was because I accidentally spent like almost 3 hours recording on it. Because I was playing so perfectly that I didn't make any mistakes at all, ever. Of course. So, yeah. I didn't die stupidly. Not at all. I didn't blow myself up. I don't know what you're thinking about. So, yeah. There we go. Details. No, that is going to be like 2 parts further in, so that's probably like, I think that's going to be like part 5 and 6. That part 5 mostly. What's the railgun going to do? The rail Damodoc increases the shell velocity and accuracy a bit, but mostly this is a bigger version of the 210mm. So it's the same shell as this one, but it fires a good bit faster. So, and it's bulkier, so yeah, I've built it up a little bit, and because it's a bigger turret, I've installed some extra stuff on it. Because why not? So cameras on that side, cameras on that side. Let's move. You know, let's go full bore. This turret is a helpful turret. Yeah. Gimbal tracker and rangefinder, nothing else with APS. This is going to be part of the overall detection grid, Viking. Actually, so it's going to help it with detection a fair bit, but it's not going to be by itself. At least that's not my plan for it. Actually, no, move that. Let's put this one here. Let's put this one here. Yeah, why not? So it's going to be a convenient mounting point, and it'll help for focusing on specific targets. But it's going to be integrated with the overall detection grid for finding out where stuff is to shoot at. So, yeah. That's what this thing is going to be doing. So I might as well go full bore and give it the whole shebang. So, AI, detection, let's give it a gimbal tracker. That's actually another of my design traits, I think, isn't it? I tend to have ships with big, beefy AI cores, because I make sure to give them a lot of detection and stuff. Do I want a radar? Do I want a... The radar can be interfered with stuff, but the camera can pick things out closer to sea level. The radar is better at AA work, so let's install the camera. Like that. Let's have a metal block there. We're going to have decorating metal plates. Put that there for the moment. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, Raz, you say you usually record everything going in channel 1, desktop, no, channel 2, headset going to 3. Yeah, if I separate the things into more audio channels, that should work great. I just need to see if Vegas, by the way, Vegas is my rendering software, for them that have never heard me mention that before. I just need to see if Vegas will accept that. Probably will. It's actually a pretty high-end piece of rendering software. Just drop the range of this thing way back to like about 2.7 should be good enough to protect the actual turret head itself. Yes, it is. Elevation 45. Width is going to be 6. And height should be, I think, about 5 or 6 should be good. A little bit higher. Let's get it to 7. How's that looking? That's pretty good. Okay, there we go. There we go. Emergency backup shield for this turret type is like that. There we go. Give each gun its separate tracks in OBS. Yep, got that. Auto lowers the volume of the game. I don't do that really because I want the game volume to be kind of steady. Though I did used to do that. It might be worth looking at again since I'm still getting used to OBS. Give each gun its own detection if it's a couple of thousand resources. Yep. Still think you separate processing cards from the actual AI mainframes. Nothing will intentionally target the processing cards, hence why they don't need to be in the Citadel. Yeah, that is actually a good point, and I will be quite happy to do that. But this craft is going to have a strong AI regardless. It's going to be self-aware. The Rexarius is going to be its own Skynet. Wait, no. Then it'll revolt and try to kill us. Is there a good AI overlord that anyone knows about that we can put our trust into? I'm just kind of wondering a little bit. But yeah, your points about AI location, definitely well made. Anyway, let's copy this thing forward since that's what I wanted it there for, to cover that. And that's the last line of shield defense for that particular turret and its onboard detection gear. So yeah. Last thing I suppose is shield strength. Let's actually get the shield projector. Reflector mode. Effects strength. It's a very cheap shield. Honestly, to run like even strength 5 is only 28.35 power to run it. Cortana. No, she's an ever watchful eye. She's a version of Big Brother. The state watches you through Cortana, or rather, Microsoft watches you through Cortana. Yes. Mother and father from the Alien movies, maybe. Yeah, I don't like that either, Dammer. That's why I moved it. That's why I reshuffled the AI, the tracker locations rather, a little bit, because I knew that the plate would actually block things trying to track through it. So yeah. But anyway, let's go ahead and save this sub-object since I think that I'm done with that turret now. And we know that this thing is 6,678 resources to build for this particular turret, which actually has a very solid set of onboard detection gear on it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. They killed the android, not mother or father. Viking, you're saying... Oh yeah, Cortana. Sorry, I should have cottoned on to that one a bit sooner. Yeah. Sucks what they did to all that. I think the 500 needs a good shield too. Can't fit one down here, but I can fit one in the very top of it. So yeah, we're just going around just doing final fitting on these things. About 2.5 again. Doesn't need to be very big, but strength 5. So that's a bit of a strong one. Height is going to be like, I think 5 or 6 I'm thinking, but width is going to be like 4. Well, it is pretty high compared to the turret, actually, so let's increase the height to 7. just in case. It protects the rails at least, and a bit of the barrel. So, last little bit of defense there. In fact, let's go ahead and capture a prefab of that really quick. No! Didn't mean to do that. Ah, damn it. You saw me do... You didn't see anything. I did that perfectly. Yes. Totally. I never make mistakes ever. 2.5. 2.5. Height was at 8. Width was at 4. Actually, we can get this a little bit closer. It's only using 20 power, but yeah. Let's drop it to 2.3. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted there. Dammer, just out of curiosity, what kind of price tag are you looking at with this build? Well, since the Rexarius is built to be equivalent style craft for since the Rexarius is like an equivalent craft for the Corollas, that means I'm looking at about a 1.3 to 1.4 million price tag total. Somewhere around that region. Plus or minus a few hundred thousand, you know? Oh yeah, I've got an ammo take in the top there. I don't need that ammo to intake, so... You may be a very slow firing gun, but I will give you your own personal shield. Just because I like you. There we go. Even my littlest turret will have its own shield. I am so nice to my cannons. My weaponry, I value it so. Because I like to blow stuff up. Right. So those two got shields. Right, moving on. We didn't know Master Chief was the main character, said the Halo devs. No. Come on, Viking. Everyone knows that Cortana's the main character of the Halo series. I thought that was obvious. That was a given. They dropped the ball so hard on that one. Wait, what am I doing? Let's prefab that one. Yeah, I mean, I think they went. If I recall right, it was like they wanted to be a surprise, didn't they? Like, hey, you know what? It turns out this game, it wasn't actually Chief's story. It was actually Cortana. Dun dun dun. And then it's like, Normally Cortana would have been like more of a 2.5? More of a supporting story, wouldn't she? If there's something like that. Let's put it forward actually. More than anything else. So the fact it all became about Cortana, I think it's messed with the flow a little bit, you know? And they didn't do a good job with it. I'm thinking about what kind of stuff to put into this one. You've been thinking of going through and making some revisions to make the Rex a bit cheaper. Okay, fair enough. Well, right now this entire weapons platformer thing is like, I think it's about 300,000 or so, ish, to build it. I was kind of thinking like, how do I want to do this? Like, this is a bigger turret. It's the 500mm Sabo turret. So let's follow the pattern I've established so far. Let's have some AI detection gear built into this thing. Like that. Oh, I received a message on a couple more from Raz. Okay, Raz, what are you saying to me? Ah, more weapon locations information. Oh yeah, there's some small AA turrets on the nose and the back. I didn't spot those, thank you. Alright. Right, I've turned off mirror. Yes, I have. Okay. Detection equipment. I will give you a rangefinder, of course. So find it. There it is. A rangefinder and a 360 cam and a gimbal cam. no 90-degree focused detection systems on this one. Unless I was to tack one into the side, like right here. Actually, no, let's do that. Just for the lulz. Yeah. Just for the lulz, you get better detection gear. Because why not? There we go. It's watching you. This is a turret that likes to watch you. It didn't mark the 34 locations for the 20mm AAs. Those are all over the place. Usually plays in sets of 2. Fair enough, that, Raz. Though, that's one thing I don't really have too much of, honestly, on this. Like, small weapon systems. No, I don't want a signal jammer, I want a receiver. By the by, has anyone actually worked out what a signal jammer actually does yet? I've never been too sure on it. So I'm kind of curious. A metal plate, which will go there, just to cover that. And that turret is now done as well. Okay. Last turret is the quad. Do we want the quad to have shielding? Probably. I did leave internal space for shielding, so it's probably a good idea. Let's put that shield prefab into it. Where does that end up? Almost where I want it, actually. Let's give it some more range. Is that good? Pretty good. Reduce the elevation a bit because it's actually a bit of a steeper turret. If I was actually changing the elevation. Yeah, let's make it 35 degree instead of 45. So it's not as good at deflecting stuff, in all honesty. It's got enough vertical, it's just not got enough horizontal. So let's make it, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meters should be good enough. There we go. 48, so it's more expensive, but it is a bit further out, so that's why it's a bit less efficient, that one. But at least the turret's got that. Wait, I'm missing something here? Okay, sorry, I was just reading back a little bit, so I get a bit distracted when I'm doing that. Right, Damodok says, I would... Wait, well, you guys can see what Damodok said, didn't you? Right, I want to try and see how many layers of metal I would need to use to redo the turret wells. And if I need like 3 layers of metal, it would still be cheaper and lighter. True. The heavy armor is more compact, but more expensive and heavier. But yeah. Would I be up for Eternal Murder Time or Galactic Conquest later? I'm not sure, Raz, but I will chat with you after the stream, just see if I feel like doing something else tonight. So yeah, I'll bear that in mind then. Signal jammers jams the missiles that all have the guidance mounted on the ship that fired it. Oh, so it jams remote guidance. Okay, that's interesting. I was not aware of that there was a direct counter to remote guidance, so that is actually pretty good to hear. It kind of explains why things are a bit more costly, honestly, for those things. But yeah, I did know that the jammers do need things to count. Also, this thing's getting a 360 radar rather than a 360 camera and a laser rangefinder, because this thing is the AA turret, so radar is better at tracking stuff in the air more than anything else. That's why I've done that. So that should be good. Put that one upside down in there. It's on channel 1, but there's nothing there, but that's okay. And there we go. Okay. All sub-turret designs are done for the moment. I've not built a smoke shell turret, but hey. That'll come. For now, let's get on with actually building a bit of hull. You got to go. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Viking, and thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have fun with your guests. So yeah, there we go. Let's just advance this one upwards as we try to work out where the top of the ship is. There it is. Okay, so that's roughly where the edge of the turret well is going to be. Hope you aren't recording your video straight to MP4 Ion. They will corrupt sooner or later. Lol. Oh, actually, yeah, Viking. I've seen them do that. Though I do actually have a program that lets me recover it when they have corrupted. So, yeah, I've not actually been using an extra file format at all. So, maybe I should actually do that. But hey. That's the width. There we go. So that's roughly where those turrets are going to be. Seeing how big this hull turns out to be to fit those main guns. I tend to build things a bit compact, honestly, but we're going to see how I go with the sloping and stuff first. That's why I just put these fast metal plates around, so I know where we are in relation to the 4 meter plates down here. And then I can start to shape the hull a little bit around it. So this is going to be like a work in progress kind of thing. So let's see. If I drop it down there, that's looking a bit nice. Maybe that's dropping down a bit too much, but that's going to be okay. That's going to be smooth surface coming down from the in front of the gun wells, though. And you know what? Let's make this a bit more interesting than just a flat slope. Let's put a couple of blocks there, and then do it like that. Just a little bit of extra working into it, a bit of extra detail. There we go. And then that gets onto a bit of forward decking here, which is going to be nice and flat, like that. Don't worry, this is not going to be featureless or anything like that. It's going to have some stuff on it. But that's going to be a raised bit in the middle of the deck, I think. Jason, you're looking forward to seeing how big this hull's going to turn out to fit those main guns. It's going to be deeper more than anything else, but it doesn't need to stretch that far out, honestly. So, if anything, it might be a bit of a stubby-looking ship, to be honest, but I like to build them sleek, so we're going to have to see how this turns out, aren't we? Oh, there we go. Total price is actually only $269,955 for this entire thing as it is right now. Let's cut it off about here, actually, this one. There we go, so let's move around a bit. This is a raised bit, which I think is probably going to house a missile battery. From the Depth Discord and the Reddit, do have some absolute monsters compared to the Rex. Okay. I've never seen those bigger ones, but I know for a fact that my computer wouldn't be able to do much about it, so that's the reason why I don't really tend to look at the big stuff too much. There we go, that's going to be like that. Razul says, as a rule of thumb, I make my ships about 5 times as long as I make them wide. In real life, ones are 7 to 8 times as long as wide. Hence, if you know the widest point, you can rule of thumb it to get a rough guesstimate on the good length. Okay. Well, width is, at the moment, looking like 35, roughly. Might be a little bit bigger than that, but yeah, width right now is 35, since that's what I worked out previously for it. So 35 times 5. Unfortunately, that puts it only 175 meters. But I think this is going to be like a 200 meter plus craft, because it's going to be a bit of a slender one. Let's be honest. I tend to build my ships really slender. Yeah, 175 meters. You know, I'm thinking like round this out a bit more, because it's going to have heavier armor than this, so it needs the bulk. No, there. how much protection do I want this thing to have? It's like, that's 2 meter plates. Also, that's the wrong piece, I've just realised. 2 meter plates is going to be fine for a slightly raised bit, I think, in terms of what I'm thinking for like a design for it. So let's drop it down by 2, like that. And then we'll get the reinforced decking, like that. And that's going to be actual deck level, I'm thinking. Like about there. Or is that, yeah, I think that's going to be main deck level, something like that. But this is all on me styling and building stuff now, so it's like, yeah. Turn 7, 245, yeah, I think something like that. Part of me wants to make a ship where all the turrets are in front of the bridge, because it always seems to me the rear ones never see as much action as the ship in front. You got the idea from some British ships. Yeah, that's true, Damadok. It depends on the situation the ship finds itself in, though, doesn't it? Quite honestly. Some British ships like that are like... it's true that they focus all the weapons forward, but then that is... they want the targets to be in front of them as well, don't they? So if you're going to be chasing after your ships, it's going to be great. If you're expecting to be in broadside duels or things like that, or an enemy comes at you from an odd angle, it's going to be bad. So I think that's the whole reason behind that. Or at least that's what my initial reaction to that one is. Though honestly, I wasn't actually aware that we Brits had made such fine hunter-type craft to have all the guns forward. So, you know. Doesn't surprise me in the least, though. We are a bit aggressive sometimes, I must admit. If I build it like that... that might be about right. There's a reason why most IRL ships have more forward guns than rear ones. Yeah, that's true for pursuit. But the rear guns are more of like general purpose, engage from all angles kind of stuff, isn't it? Is that good enough? Just thinking about it. I want to have a bit of an extended... Let's extend the nose out a little bit further. To break it up a little bit further. Like that. Yeah, that seems alright. Though I think I'm actually going to also raise this section a little bit too. So a slightly raised prow bit. Like that. And then it's going to be like... the armouring is going to be around the side of it. Like... that. Not final shape, by the way. I'm just trying what I think I'm going to do with it. Now, of course, that's slightly extended, so if I put a wedge 2 on there instead, like that. So do something like that. And then... okay. I'm thinking like a raised lip kind of situation. So if I do it like that, then I can keep on like that, just rounding it out a bit further as well. So if I do it like this, it's gonna be a raised wall around the edge of the ship, at least a little bit. Flat on the inside, bit sloped on the outside, but it also adds a bit to the shape overall, I think. But does that look suitable for a forward deck kind of situation there? There is the raised bit on the front after all, but I'm not sure what I'm going to put onto the front of it, if I'm quite honest. So maybe this looks alright, maybe it's going to get in the way a little bit. I don't quite know. Hopefully it doesn't look too stupid, but hey, this is me we're talking about. Okay, let's go ahead and round this out a bit further. It's going to drop a level there. Maybe I'm focusing a bit too much on style already, but hey, details. Also, wrong piece again. Yeah, that's not looking too bad, I think. There we go. The forward bit for people to stand on and profess their undying love for each other, just like on Titanic. I get the feeling I'm drawing a comparison there, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to keep on doing that. Whatever. Tend to build moderately effective ships that are ugly as sin. That's something I've actually had come up a few times, Jason. Sometimes in the past I've had people ask like, how would I design a ship or style a ship or stuff like that? And my answer has been like, appearance doesn't really affect ship performance too much, you know? Let's be honest, usually it doesn't unless you've really built it in a certain way. But what I tend to do with all my stuff is I round them out at the edges quite a lot. So I could be building like this square edge like that instead, and it will be a big block. But since I like it to be a rounder one, I'm just putting in the slopes on the corners and things like that. And then just to help break it up a little bit further, since you know if it's like big and blank, I don't really want it to be like that. So something else I could do is I could take like 3 blocks out like that, then edge it over and install a couple more like that, and just make a bit that's a few chunks that are a little bit thicker like that. Then just keep on with the side of it like I was planning before, which is like it's all solid metal like that. And then I've got these things for a little bit of extra detailing. So I've not done anything special here, but I've added these little ridges to the side of it, and it just breaks up the solid appearance. So if that's your kind of thing, that's something that can be done pretty quickly to most stuff. But if it's not your thing, then that's fine as well. Everyone builds their stuff different. Oops. No, shut up Facebook, go away. I don't use Facebook, but for some reason Windows 10 has latched onto it. Just leave that like that for the moment. So yeah, that's just a little addition there. Just one of Iron Mark III's top tips for building a craft that looks different compared to what you might usually do. It's like, add little dents and imperfections to it, and just see how you like it. Also, I'm thinking of breaking this forward bit up a little bit. Let's take a bit out of there. Just throw that in, because 3 meters is enough for you to tuck something in the middle if you want to. And then I'm going to round it out like that. So I could maybe put some extra detection gear, or maybe I could mount some decoy flares or stuff like that into there. And it would fit just fine. But for now, we've just added this extra little bit onto the front of it. Like that. So, there you go. Just broke it up a little bit further. And don't know if that looks good or if it quite suits what people might think, but it's a little addition which I think is interesting to have on the nose of my craft. It's also a good place for a small, simple autocannon direct-fed AA. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, add extra guns to the funky bits. Yeah, the Undying Love platform, as Raz is now referring to this bit. You know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this, but FTD, stop hesitating, please. Thank you. Okay. because I actually want to be up the front. Let's get a signpost there. Profess undying love. Oh, it's the wrong way around. Right. Whoops. There we go. Profess undying love here. And of course, just in case. There we go. Profess undying love here. Might sink the ship. Right, leave that there. Is it undying or undead love? Depends on when you ask it, doesn't it? Okay. Nelson class battleship, 3-4 touch, and then Raz. Did it flip horribly when actually used in battle? I don't know. It depends on how well it could handle the recoil from the cannons, doesn't it? Yeah, anyway, there we go. So we've got our undying love spot. We've got some detailing on the side of it. I think I'm going to make this a little bit deeper actually. So I'm not going to build straight on the hull either. I'm going to strip those parts out because I'm going to drop it down a level at the back there. And once again, it's going to be some stairs worked into it, just because. And just continue to break up the ship as I'm working on it. Admittedly, this might be something you would normally do a bit later on. But yeah, since I'm working on it now, I'm just doing it now for the fun of it, really. But I do want it to be getting considerably wider from this point onwards, so I'm just shaping the upper forward deck more than anything else. There we go. And of course, as I mentioned, like this is going to be like a weapon system. So I'm thinking probably going to be a cruise missile battery or some kind of missile system in there. That's why I turned the central column on its head, but I've left it empty. But yeah. Nelson class has a small problem with recoil. They actually had a worse problem with muzzle blast breaking the bridge windows until they fitted special ledges to help deflect the shockwaves. Oh dear. What can I say? That's us Brits all over. High quality engineering. By the way, it might blow itself up. At least that's my take on it. My stuff blows itself up pretty often, actually. So it might be accurate to say that, might not be. And that'll do for a nose section, won't it? Okay. Now, I need to get it out to 35, of course, for its main thing. So let's keep on with this. Is that 35 or is that... That's 35, isn't it? Yeah, so if I've got a 35, that's as wide as it gets around there. Which means I want it to be pretty steady along like that. And then from there, it continues onwards past the main things. You can already see it's really slender compared to a lot of other stuff, honestly. Now the nose of the craft, though. The thing is, I'm building this craft for speed, you know? Just a little bit of speed. Like, go faster. Very, very faster. So I don't want to do the thing that's become normal, really, which is like get a 4-meter piece like this. And then do it like that. Since I know that's what a lot of people do with these things. Yeah, it's rather skinny. Yeah, it's skinny compared to the size of the weapon systems as well. But I tend to build rather slender crafts, which is why I'm talking a little bit here. I don't want to do this because it's actually a pretty sharp angle there. So that does have some effect on craft speed doing it like this. It looks better, admittedly, with this stuff. And yeah, heavy armor, I don't have room for bulkier armor layouts. That is quite true. Though that just happens to be this combination of unusually heavy weapon systems for me. I don't normally build turrets that big. I normally work on much smaller crafts, honestly. Yeah, hashtag normal. I don't do hashtag normal. But I see why people have done this with the wedges, because it just fits so easily and so well into so many crafts. But I'm thinking I want to go with the style that I started using. Actually, I don't want... Is that... No, that's the wrong one. I want the wedge piece. That I started using even before the wedges came out, which is why I'm going to elongate the nose again slightly. And that is, like, go for the angle as much as possible, because this thing is going to cut through the water in a very aggressive profile. May or may not remind some people of a Star Destroyer, actually. But, hey, details. Details, details, details. How deep am I? How deep am I, actually? That's a good question. Let's go back here to check this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts me 2 meters under there. Okay, that tells me what I want to do. And that is, I want the actual prow bridge section to be 2 meters thicker. Yeah, let's make this thing 2 meters deeper. Which is a lot of extra bulky space, by the way. Also, mirror mode would help. Extra bulky space, so I can actually fit some nice things in here as well. And not just extra armor plating. Though extra armor plating helps too. Yeah, extra armor plating always helps. And it's going to need some extra armor plating as well, but that's going to be the prow section, I think. Jason, you said your bow near the front resembles a tumble home hull. Does it? And then Demodoc says, lol, that's like the front of the Rex. I'm not actually... Well, you'd know if I was looking at the Rex while working on this. So, I'm not actually borrowing directly from the Rex for inspiration here. So, that any similarity is purely accidental. As I round out the bottom of it like this and just do something really silly. So, yeah. And yeah, you're probably going to be wondering right now, what the hell is he doing? Because I'm basically just built a... Yeah, this is how deep the craft is now. Ignore the rest of it back there. This is how deep the craft is. This is how I normally build my small boat hulls, honestly. Hiya, Bapple, and thank you. I'm glad you're liking the appearance of it so far. Hopefully it's going to turn out into something worthwhile to use as well. But, hey, we can dream. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do is like... is it there? Yeah, it's there. So I'm going to do it like that. So I've recessed it a bit. Then we've got the actual thing starting to go down underneath it. And then I'm starting to extend it forward again. So I'm actually doing it in reverse a little bit. The thicker section is actually towards the bottom, and that's as deep as it goes. So yeah, that's roughly the bottom of the ship here now, and that's what I've got like that. So it's actually got it's going to have a bit of a wider base part, and it's going to be pretty bulky, but it doesn't look like most of the craft would with this kind of layout. But if this is going to be any good or not, I don't know. Where's that? Yeah, that is spot on. That 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's sever that piece and build things like this. Yes. And we could use that as a forward power, or we can use this like as a rounded bit to launch torpedoes. But yeah, little bit bulbous. Yeah. But it's also going to have like a lower section on it, so that's kind of what I'm going for. Okay, so that is going to be the basic shape of it. Well, can you call it a bulbous prow when it's actually like really sharply angled metal for ramming stuff? Well, it looks like it's meant for ramming stuff. I don't really know about that one. But hey, it looks different, and it's my quote-unquote style, so that's kind of where I'm happy with it, honestly. As I thin it out a little bit and round it off. Another very Iron Mark III thing to do. Just like that. Yeah, that's about right. That's what she said. Fair enough. That's big. Yeah, Lauren, it is. Well, it's meant to be on roughly the same scale as the Corollas. It's not going to be as thick as the Corollas is, but it's going to be longer. So, only counts if it's tipped with actual rams. This is quite true. Maybe I should just put spikes on it or something. But if this craft is ramming something, something's gone horribly wrong. If that's what's actually happening. But if we put actual spikes on it, it would be something like yeah, something like this. It's like, hello, just like poke. And of course, we would also have, because we must, as soon as I find it, it's sort of missing, isn't it? Missed. Yeah. And it wouldn't be a ramming ship without one of these. Would it? Yep, that's totally ready for use though. Totally ready for use. About that? Yep, okay. Okay. If the enemy is in weapon range, so are you. This is true. But yeah, enough joking aside, that shape is purely for dynamics with the extra bulk down there, so yeah. I think it's it does get. I think it's gonna. Let's actually cut it off. I think around here, ish. Where does that put it? It puts it like several meters thicker than the area of hull above it. So that's fine. Let's cut it off here. And we'll continue onwards with our careful shaping of the hull. There we go. Are you weird for preferring the other mode of build controls? Absolutely not. You are not. If it works for you, go do it. That's my opinion of the other build controls. I mean, I've stuck with this way because I'm better at this way than I am the actual point, mouse, and click thing. So I've never really learned to use that. So maybe that's a bad thing for me. I don't know. Yeah, I've never learned to use it, but I've found in watching people do it, I've found in some ways I'm faster using this route compared to them. But other ways I might be a bit slower as well because I have to like use the keys and manually go to individual bits. So it's how it's applied more than anything else, I think. But there is no right or wrong way to be using the build tools given. So yeah, if it works for you, go for it. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's the base of the ship though, like that. And we're going to be using this bit for slender design and stuff. I just need to place some blocks here. There we go. Weird is relative, and sometimes your relatives are just playing weird. This is true. Another interesting tidbit on that, by the way. There is no such thing as normal. Normal is a myth. It doesn't exist. Because all that normal means is the average. And because that's purely a statistical thing, the average cannot, by definition, exist in and of itself. But yeah. Okay. Almost never use that control method except for very specific placement of finicky blocks. But I see a lot of people doing it just like you are. So, well, actually, if I recall correctly, keyboard control for building was actually the first one, and then mouse control came later. And then the really old school fuddy-duddies like me never caught up with times. We're not hip with the new technical shizzle whizzle shiny things, you know? So yeah, so we keep on with the existing stuff. Or something to that effect, I don't know. But hey, go for it. Preach it, Ion. Yeah. So this is how I learned to play From the Depths. And this is what I've stuck with because I'm comfortable with it. End of the day. And there's nothing wrong with any of it. Oh yeah, sorry. RMM Inc., by the way, welcome to the stream. Sorry about that. You were saying mouse control seems not being as precise. This is true. Keyboard control, takes a bit longer to move into a given spot. So for very precise work, it is more reliable, but it can take more time. So yeah. But if you're not being quite as precise, then or if you're good with it as well, I should actually mention that, or if you're good with it as well, then just going ahead with mouse control is going to be fine for you 9 times out of 10. It's just every once in a while you're going to misclick and do something a bit wrong. But that's on your definition of wrong, so hey. Do you define it as wrong, or will you accept where you accidentally place that block? Anyway, if it works in the spots you put it, then there you go. There is no problem at all. Let's see, let's get this here. There we go. Continue with that. So I think we've got a good prow coming together for this. It's definitely got this wider bulbous bit on the bottom, but that is going to be working into the main craft as well. In fact, I think I'll start doing that around here. Or here? No, let's do it here. A little bit further back. So that. That's probably far enough. Yeah, let's do it like that. But there's still plenty of internal space coming together for armoring and systems and all that stuff, so I'm fine with all that as it is. And if I really wanted to, I could actually start elevating the side of this part here upwards and then have it extend a bit further and then widen out behind it. Just for some interesting bodywork. Oh, thanks, I thought I hadn't really seen you in the chat before. I'd have remembered an incorporated name. Because I tend to catch little details like that. There we go. But I'm just like breaking up the exterior paneling of this area now a little bit. So continuing what I was doing like when I put together the prow decking. Just adding some interesting little bits of flair to it and stuff like that. So if I build this forward from here, where am I going to be? About there. Okay. Gonna wind up there. Okay, that's slightly too far. But if I put it in like this now, that should fit quite nicely. No, I did it wrong. I actually want it one further back still, like that. Because I forgot to delete the parts I was saying were too far before, so... Yeah, let's do it like that. I need one lower. Okay. If that's the case, then let's chop this part here off as well. And that's going to be like a brace section, at least a little bit. You hear mouse build is better for detail. It again, damn, I think that's like, if you're accurate enough with it, it could be. You know? But I know for a fact I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, so I just prefer like the keyboard. If I make a mistake with the keyboard, I know I'm very comfortable with just like immediately going in and fixing it. You know? So that's why I like it. Plus I can do things like that, like really quickly building stuff out like this. And stuff something like that may take a while for if I was using a mouse, but I just like banged it straight out like that. So, you know. Got to go duty calls? Okay, catch you in a bit then, Dammer. Let's see, I'm going to put this one in. So, same principle as when I was working detailing into the launcher sets up there. So I'm going to have to... Wait, have I misaligned this a little bit? No, I have not. Okay, good. Ooh, I was worried there for a moment. Okay. At least I don't think I've misaligned this. Have I misaligned this? I have not, because that comes from there. So it's purely because of the slightly odd shape of that entire section that this is like not quite in line. There we go, that lines up perfectly there. So yeah, it's just the slightly odd shape because of this bow arrangement we've got in the front. I know Call of Duty. Well, if you know Call of Duty, do you know Duty Calls? Which was a bit of a nice little bit of marketing from EA for Bulletstorm. I rather enjoyed that, honestly. But yeah, I know it's EA, boo. But hey, there are some good things around which actually bear the EA logo. Must be honest. Let's go with the mouse there. So, okay, so that'll flatten out there a little bit. And don't worry, I'm not going to build up the entire hull. really, because if I don't words, if I build it up too much, then I'll struggle to build stuff inside it. So this is like shaping the prow still, so we can see what it's going to look like, or get a good idea of that. Yeah, we're going to do the same thing on here. So recessed it by 1, just so that it breaks up the shape a little bit, like that. And then I think this one's going to be like smooth, maybe about here, and then it might edge forward again a little bit, like that. So we've just got these angles of plating built into the front of it. Reality is a myth. Prove to you that it exists. True. That is a good question. Does reality exist? Well, life sucks far too often for this to be fake, I think. Unless there's something really cruel watching us. So that's a possibility. There we go. Take off build. F9 it, so we can get just an unobstructed view of that. Oops. So from the front, I'm thinking that's roughly finished what it's going to be like. It's heavily cut into, but there is still a lot of internal space left for me to work with. So that's like that. So I think that's looking quite nicely. Yeah. People can't leave one of my streams. It only happens all the time. Actually, how long is my stream? How long have I been going? I have been going for a bit over 2 hours now. That's fine. We've actually made some good progress, though. Let's see. That's all good there, but I'm thinking I need to do a reverse course a little bit, just so that it fits in nicely with the top here. But that might be a bit much for what's going on right now. Still, at least we've got a prow section up, so that's good. Progress has been made. Well, progress in strong quotation marks, but hey, progress. And I don't think I want the deck to really drop below this mark here too much, but I'm happy with that line on it though. So let's continue with that at least a little bit. So like that. And I know, I'm still doing detailing work. Though that said, have you noticed that I'm only really using the 4 meter pieces? Just because of the dynamics of them. Because that's a thing that I'm doing. I just thought I'd mention it because, you know, to actually get least possible drag, we need to use the sharpest pieces possible. And that's what I'm winding up doing. There we go. Okay. Now then, what I need to do is get the sides of the ship a bit better sorted out though. Now. You actually enjoy watching me shape the hull? Oh, thank you. Glad you're enjoying that bit, Raz. Even if it's making... Well, let's be honest. It may not be the most complex part, but the hull is somewhat important to the performance of the craft. Somewhat important to the performance of the craft. So that's kind of why I take a while shaping it, and I just do the rounding out kind of thing. So that's my own little bits on it. So I'm thinking is, if I do it like that, what if I was to make this a treble bulge kind of situation? So come out here, and it'd be like that, and it'd be like that. Is that about the... It's a little bit further down. So if I do it there, then that is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 below this part. Sorry, 4 below this part, yeah. In fact, I think there's some guiding lines will probably be a good idea. Hang on. Yeah, so about there. So let's put a solid, and then we'll have 2, I think, slopes. Like that. And then we're onto the actual underbelly of the ship itself. So it's not as sharp as the angling we've got up here on the front on the slopes, like that. But it is clearly defined as there being some extra bulk put into it. The hull is 90% of the craft's visuals and 20% performance. In general, yes. 20%, 21% if it's a plane. Also true. I would argue it depends on how you're measuring the performance. Admittedly, this is like a case of being all angled like that will, without question, make this craft go faster. Painting it red does not make it go faster, but angling out all of the blocks in front of it does make a big difference to speed. A few individual ones might not matter unless it's a small craft, but consistently over a larger craft can definitely make it a more agile, more dangerous craft. Just because it can get into place more easily. So that's why I'm doing it. Let's do it like that, yep. But the main reason I'm working this part out now a little bit is because we do need to put the extra turrets in still. So we've got to have places to put in all those lovely turrets we've got sitting around at the back there. So at the very least try and work that part out. And quite honestly, I think we're going to have a bit of a bulge underneath as well. So it's going to get deeper because that just because it gives us a bit more space, you know? So a bit like that. So a bit more rounded, but it gives us a bit more, well, a bit more, it's a few more layers of internal volume to play with, while still maintaining an aerodynamic shape. Since this will, of course, all be rounded out from the front of the craft, like that. But at least you can see a lot of what the Rexarius is going to be turning into, though. Now, let's see. Let's continue along the top here a little bit. If I put... This is a steeper section, though, because it's going up from here to here. And because of how close the turrets are, there's not a lot we can do about it. Let's be honest. There really isn't a lot we can do about this particular section's slope. Unless we round it out for sideways on more than anything else. So let's have a look at what that'll turn out like. If I do it like that, then that's some sloping on it. Then I'll start to... the problem is it's like 4 meter slopes like that. Oh, what if I bridge it from the sides, actually? I need that to be... I want that to be at least there. So what happens if I do it like this? Just like rounding out a little bit. This is going to get in the way of the forward turret a bit, though, if I do it this far forward. So maybe if I drop this down to like a 2 meter instead of a 4, that would be good. Sorry, I missed a few things. Jason said, I actually made a battleship hull for a tournament that was a trimaran because you get more speed out of it. Yeah, not many people go for trimaran hulls, but they can be very, very fast, though they pay for that with reduced internal space, usually. So yeah, but tri-man hulls are definitely a fun thing to play around with. Unfortunately, this thing is a big, bulky dreadnought, so it needs to have more stuff in it. There's only one measure of performance. How much can it kill over its lifetime in the campaign? At least for a campaign craft. Good question. That is actually quite important. The value of a craft is measured in its murder count. End of the day. I think I need to put 2 meters in there before I accidentally drop something. There we go. That's not too bad. And if I put a 2 meter into here as well, yeah, I like that. That's looking a bit better. Now, of course, there's a slight loss of aerodynamics, of course, but it's only a little bit compared to the overall craft, so that can be tolerated. In fact, if I put a 3 like that, this entire turret can only turn like not much more than 90 degrees, actually. I need to cut this back a little bit. Fine, let's do it like this then. Just so I can try to fit it in a bit better. If you go like that, then you become wide enough, but just barely as we hit the edge of the turret. Yeah, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. That is actually not too bad. Though maybe I put the turrets a bit too close together, even though I deliberately put a space in between them. But yeah, that's looking okay, I think. Right, sorry. Let's see. You sent me some pic on how turrets are done in real life. You mean the transition from the first to the second on the front of a big ship? Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, that's about what I thought it would be, actually. Okay, so for you guys that can't see what Raz has sent me, he sent me how the how in real life they do battleship turrets, first and second ones. So I'm just explaining that right now. And what they do is they have it raised up above, like I've got here, but rather than working into the hull, they tend to have like a thicker neck bit on the second turret, and then they just leave it at that. But since it's one of my craft, I'm working that into the hull because this is actually part of the superstructure now, actually, as far as I'm concerned. The second main gun is actually embedded in the front of the superstructure. But yeah, overall I've got the transition down though, so maybe I could do with having it a little bit higher up, I suppose, but yeah, I don't know. Also, I'm going to make this thing a bit thicker here because that is getting pretty close to the heavy armor side a little bit. Maybe I should do that here. Yeah, let's do that one closer, just so I've got a bit of extra armor around the side of it. Just to make sure. Because we've got to make sure that this is nice and thick, rather than relying on the heavy armor for the bulk of the protection in that spot. So there we go. And it can start to round down on the sides there. That just leaves this side bit here. You know, I'm okay with it actually continuing like that, for the most part. Sure, it looks a bit aggressive and dangerous, but hey. It's one of mine. Of course it does. Round it down a little bit like this. There we go. Broken up the armor placing a little bit. That goes like that. I think that looks alright, actually. For how it's built into it. Bit of aerodynamics. It's got the bulk for the armor plating to go behind it, I think. But it's actually pretty heavy. Raz is sending me more things. A modern stealth destroyer. Yeah. Things have really shied away from heavier guns a lot for modern naval warfare, I must admit. I understand why, given the effectiveness of newer weapon systems, but I don't know. It's still definitely a thing. Let's drop it down by 2, because we want to increase the thing. Yeah, we want to increase the angle a little bit on this bit, just so that we can get things a bit like that. So yeah, a bit more curving again on that bit. But then it goes over to this here. Which is still slightly ahead of it, like that. But now we can slope it in from the side. Like that. And that makes it properly to it, so I'm actually happy with that. For the most part. That side bit could do with a bit of rounding out as well, honestly. Nothing's perfect, but that'll do. At least for now. And that's also a nice flat surface where we could potentially add in some more missile weaponry there. If we put something of a lighter caliber into it. Yeah, missiles have kind of killed large, slow-moving targets. Yeah, pretty much. Like precision-guided weaponry. And over the horizon means that the ships are not safe anymore. So that is another big reason why we lost some... lost the big battleship-style craft. They weren't that viable anymore. Actually, let's increase this. Let's increase the angle slightly on here, even further, just so it's like that. Yeah, that seems all right. Nothing quite says offshore fire support like a full broadside of 406mm. Pretty much. Yeah, it's just not worth building a 40 million battleship if you can sub by a $4,000 suicide boat. Or $20,000 missile or torpedo. That's true, yeah, it's all about cost effective at the end of the day, isn't it? The heavier ships were just not proving to be cost effective enough. Not with changing weaponry and stuff like that. What I'm seriously thinking about now is like, where to put the guns. Where to put the guns? Well, first off, let's get a silo up, I suppose. Which is going to be like... Well, it's basically like the full box for this one. But you just indent the corners on it. Wait, am I mirror moding still? I was not, but better to check before I did something completely irreversible. Okay, so that'll do there. Didn't I armor the underside as well a little bit? Yes, I did. Okay. Okay, let's do it like this. I've got the ring shape, which is what I need. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So it's a 9 by 9. Length 9, width 9, height 4. Oh wait, would help if I wiped the prefab first, wouldn't it? 9, 9, and 4. 45. 4. Begin. Capture that. Does that go like that? However, I know that I need 2 more meters. I think it's 2 more meters. No, 1 more meter. Let's put it there like that. Okay, so if I do it like that, that'll become the silo for these classes of those particular turrets of that size. That's the silo for them. I just need to layer in the floor now. So that's a 3. Yep. That's a 3. That's a 2. Wait, no, I don't need to do that one because it's all 2 meters on the sides. There we go. Okay, and it is a 3x3 hole for the neck of the weapon system. That's interfering with where the neck would be. Yep, so that's got to be 3 meter. And then I swap it to a 4 meter, and that will be comfortable like that. So I move things along a little bit. There we go. 1 silo type for the Sabo turrets. Perfect. Maybe some ridiculous laser system will bring ships back? Could do, but there is still one drawback, which is laser system needs line of sight, really. Or it can be refracting through the air a little bit, but it still needs line of sight overall. So long-range shells would still have an advantage over that kind of thing. Tanks or self-propelled guns usually have at most a 203mm. Still terrifyingly effective. Yeah, it's just like carrying enough ammo when it comes to a tank, isn't it? Or something like that. See, that's 3 meter neck. That's also a 3 meter neck. Okay. I don't think I have any other turrets needing that particular silo size, though. Except maybe this one. Is it that one? Let's double check the size really quick. 2, 3, and 1. Ah! The faster firing, bulkier disruptor turret is actually going to fit in that silo shape as well. Okay, that's good to know. Right, so if I'd use that, I can reuse that silo for 3 of my existing gun styles. For all of my Sabo secondary turrets and for my bigger disruptor secondary as well. So that's just really good. Just need to catch it properly. Let's make sure. I will begin with a new prefab. It is a 9x9, of course, with a height of 4, 8, 12, 14, it should be. Roughly. Oh, 1 out, 15. So that should be good there. Rename that as Rexarius. Rexarius secondaries 1. So I don't delete it. But if I was to install this one, comparing it actively now to this thing... Yep, that's spot on. Okay. We have ourselves a silo shape. Excellent. Got to remember though, with the Sabo types, they are built for a 3 meter deck. With the Disruptor, it's actually built for a 4 meter deck. So that's going to colour things a little bit. In general though, space requirements. The Sabos have smaller space requirements. The Disruptor is actually a bulkier turret, though, so yeah, that's the thing. But what if I was to put something like this about there? Where it overlaps ever so slightly with the armor plating of the system next to it. Like that. Then a smallish turret could sit quite nicely in that area there. And I'm thinking the smaller Sabo style turret, the dual 250, would actually fit quite nicely in that area. At least that's what I'm thinking. Of course, there's going to be a slight lack of armoring on the deck plating there because of how thick how tall the neck can be. But I'm thinking that's a good spot. So let's install some of those and see how it looks. Also, hello Mr. Analog, welcome to the stream. As I make my craft rapidly more expensive. Because why not? Is that correct? That is not correct, move it back one. There we go. How does that look? A couple of big bulky silos built into the side of the ship just around there. That's well back still, so that's good. And the weapon system I'm thinking of is this one. The lighter Sabo style turret. Let's move on, and we'll install this one forward facing. Though actually this smaller Sabo is actually a 1 meter neck rather than 3 meter like its contemporaries, the other two types. But if I lift it by 1, that puts the turret right there, which is actually really comfortably placed actually. We need to adjust the armor plating slightly, but I think that's actually a good spot for it. Let's go ahead and put this down like so. Yeah, we just need to adjust the armor plating a little bit for it, but that's actually a good spot, I think. Our first secondary guns are now in position. Excellent. Could do without having the shield on, actually, but yeah, we're going to have to narrow this down a little bit, and there is space to tunnel into this area here, behind this turret, but that will have a pretty decent area of fire around the side of the craft over here. So I think that's going to have like roughly a 170 odd degree firing arc out of the side of the craft here. And of course, since it's one with a 3 meter elevation part, it's one that can engage smaller targets that get too close as well. Bristling with barrels it will be. Yes. Yes, it will. I'm just wondering what to put in next. I'm thinking maybe... Well, the problem right now I've got is like the distance between the primary silos and the outer bulkheads now. Since I don't want to make the craft any thicker, any wider, since I think that's a good width for it. At least one of my designs. But I'm thinking maybe some disruptor turrets around here, if I can fit them in. Like straddling the divide here between these two forward cannons. Yeah, it's an Ionian craft. Yeah, it's going to have a lot of weapon barrels on it. It is a given, very much so. You build ships, so yeah. I mention this every time I see someone else building stuff. Analogs. I know everyone builds crafts so very differently. And the end results look distinct as well. You're saying it's kind of weird. Usually you build the hull and systems first before mounting them. Yeah, I built the weapons first. Normally I build them both at the same time as I go along. But with such a big ship, I wanted the guns sorted out first, which is why I spent 2 streams on those. And some off-screen time. No, not that one. That one. Let's see, if I put it... let's bolt this onto the side of the forward turret as well, actually. How much space does that give it? Not much. There's only like a few meters clearance between this and the outer armor wall. I can move it back one a little bit, but the other thing that's concerning me right now is like turret size. Because I'm thinking a disruptor turret back here, but the disruptor turret is a bigger turret, you know? So it's like it's going to struggle a little bit, in all honesty. If I recess it too far against the existing superstructure that we've got in place already at this point, because it needs the extra space. It's a big healthy boy. It needs the extra space on it. I could always go for another pair of Sabo turrets, I suppose, but kind of reminds you of how an A10 Warthog was built. Hey guys, let's build a plane around a gun. Not quite that bad, but yeah, some design cues from that, I suppose. Oh, this thing is not quite as on that same level, though. I must admit. Yeah, I'm thinking let's put a weapon silo in here for this one of these. I'll adjust the decking around it in a few moments to correct for that, but I should probably... Yeah, I'm just going to strip the decking back a little bit, just to make a bit of room for them. But I'll bridge that up over where the armor plating is going to be for these guns. And I'll dig into that sloped bit we have at the top there a little bit to give the turrets a bit of space. But that'll be a good spot, I think, for some disruptors. We do need to scatter the weapon systems around by type. We don't want a bomb to hit a single area and then go, oh, well, you weren't using those disruptors, so hey, there you go. I don't want all the weapon systems of a given type to be knocked out in a single hit. That would not be good. Is that good? That is good. Still overlapping slightly. But that's roughly where I want it, I think. Yeah, messed up a single piece being put in. That's okay. Yeah, the Warthog is definitely a fun aircraft. It was purely built around that single Vulcan cannon it was carrying. Just because they wanted to make sure to bring that thing to the battlefield. That's all they wanted with it. Is it such a crime to want to have a massive cannon that makes things disappear with you on the battlefield? Not really. Okay, right. For those, I want I'm going to try to fit this disruptor turret into it. So that's going to be a fun little thing. Of course, there's a 4-meter neck turret as well, but we'll give it a try. Yeah. And if I turn it forwards like that, that'll let me do the firing arcs for it. That sits out the bottom, so lift it up a little bit, and that should be good, like that. Yeah, don't have to make too much of a dent, I think, to get this thing into this position and working. Also, I never set an idle barrel elevation on those things. Okay, that is looking alright. It's in good position. I just need to adjust the hull a little bit further so it'll actually turn. But that should be good. Just need a little dent here to give the space for the... Actually, that's about as far down as it needs. To turn fully, I need to take out that piece as well. That should be about right, actually. Can I get control of those guns? I want to turn one and have a look. See? Oh. Done it. Okay. You saw nothing. I didn't fall in the water. I didn't have my yearly bath or anything like that. Okay, that was looking promising. Oh, yep, that's enough clearance. It's turning properly and perfectly. Jolly good. Quite nice. And that one, of course, is going to turn properly as well because there's no issues with that one at all. It's got plenty of clearance for it. So I know how much space I need. I should also probably turn my shields off, actually. So I'm going to do that really quickly. Let's get an ATB in there, which I will tell on trigger shields set type to off. There we go. All shields gone. Of course, I'm also going to set these things up a little bit. So let's give it. No, I don't want actually firing. I don't want firing restraints. I want idle barrel angle of 10. Just so I can do that. Though I'm also going to turn them outwards slightly as well, so they're not just like sitting there like that. Right, to be honest, I'm thinking this is actually about almost the end of the stream. It's getting pretty close, I think. You know what? For one more weapon system, maybe I should just install some cruise missiles. That's good, clean, wholesome family fun, isn't it? High explosives. Yes. And yeah, I'm liking how this craft is coming along as well, Raz. It's kind of shaping up quite nicely. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 10 tubes seems reasonable. About here. Actually, is that going to be enough? This is going to, this missile system is going to need a bit of a kick to it, just to help it. If I build it for what I'm thinking of right now, I think I'm going to need to be a bit careful with the thing. So I'm going to test fire one of them, I think. Just teleport myself over here. So, missile control system connections. It's going to be a large missile system. So, fun times for all. Large gantries. All the way up. So, might be bigger than that, actually. I don't know. That's smaller than I thought it was. And then, actually, let's do that. And then on top, we're going to have the 2x2 hatches, like so. Cruise missiles, the primary army to your Mark 6 battleships, Mr. Anlog, with Sabo turrets and improved laser AMS. Currently, that sole boat has wrecked 9 fleets of lightning hoods and white flares. I am not surprised. I really am not. If you do even a couple of weapon systems, if you work them together right, they are incredibly dangerous. But yeah, what I'm wondering here is, are 2 ejectors going to be enough? Let's see, turn off that mirror mode, turn on, I want the IFF on that side and the staggered fire on that side. 1 sec delay because this is just a test firing kind of thing. Okay, let's have a look-see. This is going to be a self-guided, I suppose. The remote-guided would also be really good. In fact, this thing is meant to intercept big craft. Let's set up a remote-guided one and see how it feels to it. So, thump ahead. Turning thrust. Turning thrust. Fin. APN. By the way, it's Damodoc's fault that I'm using an APN, just so you know. Lifetime 40 seconds. What's my thrust duration? 59. I don't need that much. Frag. We can adjust the warhead later, I suppose, but frag. frustration is still pretty high. More frag? 39, 40 seconds. No, let's give it a bit more. Fuel tank. Yeah. Turning thrusters, you can use, we've got 10 seconds out of 40, that's a 25%, so max fuel use at 25. Actually no, we've got a bit of excess. Let's be safe and leave it some fuel in it. You'll trigger 1 second after launch, I'll leave that also good. You also need the remote guidance bit. Yeah, no I don't! Who needs a remote guidance bit on a remote guided missile? Come on, that's silly. Of course I'd forget something like that, wouldn't I? Yeah, rem guidance. Okay. So the thump ahead is just so it's got more velocity out of it. Quad warhead, quad fuel, extra internal space and fuel. Maybe a body piece rather than a warhead, just to make it a bit more tolerant of getting shot at. I mean, if I do that, that gives you like 3,000 more health. It's at 14,700 at the moment, so that's pretty high. But it's all right, actually. Let's see, yeah. So this is where we calibrate the thruster for this particular contraption. Turning rate, we want no ramp time on that. We've got 50 seconds of thrust. Let's increase thrust by 20%. That seems good. It will start delay. What do we turn at? We turn 41 degrees. 3 seconds. So this thing will ignite 3 seconds after the launch. The only question is, will the ejectors get this thing up into the air? Because that's mildly important. We also need something to shoot at, which is also mildly important. Let's get our old friend out. Let's get the Marauder out. Okay, right. Oh, missiles. You have a playmate. Get ejected properly. And off it goes. Alright. Jolly good. I'm happy with that. Okay. Just use the empty space for more hit points instead of for fuel. The thing is, Raz, with the remote guidance thing, if it misses its target, it could actually come back around and try again. Especially against a flyer. So that's kind of why I left that in there like that. Though that said, since this is meant to be like an anti-big thing, if it's not going for aircraft, it's against ships, it's going to be pretty accurate. So, yeah, might be a good idea just not to do that. Anyway, or we could carry more warheads as well. But let's look at it from a distance though. Let's do it from here. There's turning thrusters firing. And then the missile ignites and it's coming full bore straight at it. Like that. So yeah, this thing gets pretty high up. Well, actually not too high, maybe like 100 meters or so before it's turned. And then it kicks in. Though we can tighten that up a bit further. So let's do that. Let's tighten it up. We can get the turning thrusters, you activate 1 second after. But this thing ejects at 60 meters per second. Yeah, let's try it at a half second, I think. Or 0.4. 0.4 should be good. 0.4 seconds on the thrusters. That means we want the variable thrusters to kick in at 2.4 seconds. No, wait. No, 3 seconds after launch is still about right, actually. Let's do that. Warhead arming at 1 second. That's good. Yeah, That should be good. And we'll see how this looks when it kicks out. So the only drawback is it's a really big quacking target because its initial burn is purely for with its turning thrusters. But it's a big missile. It's going to be noticed anyway. But once it's done its initial turn, then it makes a beeline straight for its target. You may want to go even higher. If an enemy flak or laser AMS takes your missile out the moment it fires its thrusters, you can get quite a bit of ouch on your own craft. I don't... Doesn't the warhead activation timer prevent that? Let's increase... Let's be safe. Let's increase the warhead safety on it a little bit further. So the warhead doesn't arm for the first 5 seconds after launch. And by then, my craft will be moving, and it will be on its way out towards the target as well. So that'll help with that. But I'm somewhat sure that a safety will stop it from doing that. At least that's my interpretation. It's like the warhead safety stops it from detonating, as I understand it. Not sure if it affects a missile that gets shots down. Maybe, but this thing is going to usually be out of range of an AMS system anyway, unless something really bad's going on. So there is that too. Is this the correct one? Yes. Copy to all. So that's the full battery of the things. I want to increase the launch time to like 3 seconds? Hang on. Let's do a quick conversion to explosive. Okay, so explosive. HE radius 60 meters. Speed is 132. Well, 114 to 132. So, yeah, a 2-second delay should be good between each one to prevent them from blowing each other up, in theory, for that. Flak range depends. But even then, oh god, ejectors. What do you mean, RMM? What's wrong with ejectors? And Viking, I know how much ammo it's going to cost. Yeah, these things are going to be expensive as heck. Let's be honest. Well, they have a 40-second fire rate, but each missile is 6,400 ammo for one of these. Which is why I might want to strip out some of the fuel for some extra payload. But this is like big targets only kind of thing. So if a craft is too small or maybe too fast, but the turning thrusters will help a bit with that. But if it's too small, I'm going to set the firing system so it won't actually use these big missiles against it. But even so, this craft is going to be resource intensive for supply, so let's get our good friend the King's Head back out here for a moment so we can throw explosive missiles at it. 200,000 ammo a minute? Probably not that high, but this is another reason why a lot of the secondary turrets are actually going to lower caliber than the initial 500s. It's going to be cheaper as well. The main guns, though, aren't that bad, all told. Yeah, let's see how a barrage of these does. Oh, not very well. That got a bit stuck. Yes, I forgot. Oh, yeah. You could have done with saying that a bit sooner, RMM. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to place the ejectors on the extra launch pads. Ionian engineering at its finest. And yeah, there's the missiles all arcing around in the background over there. Like, yeah, it was, yeah, I enjoyed that actually. Just like seeing the missile trying to launch because it was stuck in the tube. And it's like, what's going on there? And then it's like, nope. Well, I think this is going to do something to something that it's trying to shoot at. Must admit. Yeah, it's going to do something. Thrust on turn. Yeah, I actually have... I don't know if you saw me setting up the missiles, Viking, but it's like... they have two fins to help them with more precise aiming, but for turning they've got double thruster. But yeah, the ammo magazines on this craft are going to be a little bit bigger than these that we've got in there at the moment. Must admit. I was just thinking of something, but I forgot what. Give me a sec. What was I thinking of? I don't know. That was it. Short range thruster version. Okay, short range thruster version. Start delay is 3 seconds. Short range thruster. That gives it a 5-second burn, but it boosts the speed. Wait, no, it doesn't. That's still the same. Yeah, okay. No, wait, yes, it does boost the speed, sorry. Short range thruster. That would put it at a kilometre range, roughly. Is a kilometre range worth it for these things? It would be shorter range than the craft is intended to engage at. So it probably wouldn't be that much use, if I'm honest. But the 5-second burn would make for a much heavier missile payload. Thrust duration is 8.3. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it's struggling to reload. We could tune these missiles a bit better, honestly. But if I want them to have range, they need the variable thruster on them. Well, I've only got 10, but there is going to be more missiles, but they're going to be smaller missiles as well. This is just like a forward cruise missile battery of some kind. Oh, that took off. They're ejecting faster as well, I think. Well, they're definitely closing on the target faster with that thing. But, yeah, I think it'll be a good addition. But, definitely have some opportunity to mix in some other warhead types, but it's going to be a nice additional weapon, but I'm not going to rely on it over much, I don't think. Might even spread it out a little bit so it takes up this entire thing here rather than like all being so close together. Oh, there was another missile out there. It just went boom. Yeah, I think it's going to be good to have those in, at the very least. But there we go, yeah. I'm done for the day, I think. How long have I streamed for? 3 hours, okay. Yeah, that was my longest stream limit back when I was streaming more often. So it's still a good one for me and all that jazz, so. time to murder stuff. Yeah, I'll come and play something with you for a while, Raz. Might not be for that long, maybe an hour or so ish, but yeah, I don't mind doing that. But yeah, there we go. That has been the stream, and the Rexarius is now looking like this. So we've actually got our prow up. We've got potentially a missile battery, though that needs some more tuning. We've got secondary turrets starting to go in. We've got the hull taking shape. So yeah, I think this the Rexarius has taken a big step forward now. And hopefully the next stream is going to be sometime later this week. Well, not this week, next week. Sorry, I'm busy tomorrow. But yeah, I think that's going to be another stream sometime next week. At least that's what I'm thinking of at the moment. And yeah, more DACA. There will be more DACA. Definitely. You have returned. Oh, you returned just in time for the end of the stream, Mr. Analog. Sorry, I didn't catch that. But yeah, this is the Rexarius in its current state. This has been AM3. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. And I'll catch you all some other time. Yes, indeed. See you all later. And yes, I'm going to make sure I save this thing before I go anywhere. So I don't want to lose what the progress that's been made on it.